Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Music Talks podcast. I'm your host, Bobby Rose. And if you're familiar with the voice that you're about to listen to today, it's because you've listened to one of the episodes from the past season. And today I'm talking to the same person, Mr. Haziq Muhyidin. And of course, he is a vocal performance student from the same department as I am, same university even. But the thing that I wanted to get him on to again today is because we recently worked on a community project, a music community project with a population, the B40 population. And I won't spoil too much. I'll just let him explain the entirety of it. So, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Haziq Muhyidin.
Hello. Hi, Bobby. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for inviting me again to your podcast and to talk about our music painting project. It's really an honor to come back to this. Thank you.
Hey, man, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm doing good. Unfortunately, we're all still at home. Still haven't had the chance to really perform outside yet, but life has to go on.
What is like life for you, like daily life for you after, like during the semester? You're still in your semester, right?
Yeah. I'm still in my semester, but I'll be very honest with you. My semester nowadays, I'm a bit less interested in everything right now. Because of we haven't been into campus for so long already, right? It's already like so many semesters. It's already 1 year plus, and then it's gonna add up. And then looking at the situation now, we don't know. So that's how long it's been for us not going back to campus. And it's definitely taking a toll in terms of I'm really questioning our degree life and our music life, and everything, because definitely everything's impacted, especially the quality of our education. That is really genuinely it's worrying for me, and not just for me, especially for some of our younger batches, for them. So yeah.
And but you still do you've been doing recordings and performances, right? I saw that recently you have been going to studios even more than before, or is it just about the same?
That one is because I still go for my daily weekly vocal classes with my teacher at his studio place. But to be honest, that's about it. I just go for vocal classes. I've thought of recently doing composing stuff and then producing songs and everything. But honestly, it's the motivation for me to try to find to produce a song, and I think the inspiration. I'm the kind of person that I need to feel somewhat inspired to be able to write a song. So, and that usually inspiration, it comes from having that environment, that musical environment that we usually are privileged before to be able to get into that kind of environment. And now it's less so because I'm mostly just at home and nothing really interesting goes at home. So
Yeah.
so yeah, it's hard to find that musical inspiration nowadays. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm still happy that you're able to, record as other people, because I do know that I'm not saying it's easier. I'm not saying it's easier, but at least it's doable for vocals, because all you have to do is just stand at the corner and just scream. Oh man, I'm just like simplifying this so
Yeah.
much. I'm gonna get so much hate comments on this. But compared to other people that need instruments, right?
No, I mean actually, if you want to compare who gets it easier, I think the pianist, the solo pianist, would have a slightly easier time. I can say that with a bit confidence because I'm a pianist, so I would know the kind of struggles I have to compared to the kind of struggles I have to go through. Because especially with our to give some context to people, because we give this lunchtime recitals before, right, on Thursday in our university. So, but now we just have to do recording for that. And for those instruments that need an accompaniment, yeah, it becomes to say the least, it becomes very difficult because you have to find an accompanist, and then you have to request them. So if you don't have a accompanist friend that is nearby that you can just do a recording together, then you would have to ask them to do a recording and then send to you, and then you have to dub over that. You have to record over that, and then try to synchronize yeah, it's just a lot more work lah.
Yeah.
Basically, just a lot more editing work. That one is definitely when you just want to compile things. In comparison, if you're just a solo pianist, all you have to do really just practice, take
Mhm.
one good take, and then send that in. Honestly, so yeah, so I can feel the pain of some others instrumentalists that do require non-companies. Yeah.
Yeah. And in that sense, when you mention it that way, it was kind of a miracle how we actually got to carry out our projects, like despite your performance life being quite dented in that sense, and I was handling my
Yeah.
dissertation, my research like quite dented, but we both still got to carry out our community project. Okay, so let's get into it. Okay, so I'll just give you an overview, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Khind Starfish Foundation actually gave the music department, our team, a grant to carry out this community project, a project for population within B40. The project was called under KSF, Khind Starfish Foundation. It was called Projects for Happiness and PFH, and our team carried out the project for our team was called music painting. And then there's something about expression, and which is why Haziq is going to tell you about it, not me. But yeah, we integrated a bit of percussion, a bit of singing, a bit of composition, a bit of a lot of emotional expression, and self-expression, and all of those through music. Which is, if you know me by now, if you follow this channel, you know that's exactly what I'm about. That's what I love so much. So Haziq, let's start off with this. What's the full name? Let's see if you can get the whole name in one shot. Can you get it?
Yeah. I've written the proposal many times, right? So the program that we proposed to Projects for Happiness was called Music Painting Artistic Expression Through Percussion and Singing. So that's
There
full
you go.
name. So, but we just shorten it to like music painting for the ease of, recall.
Mhm.
So basically what music painting is, it was a music program that we proposed to Kin to want to come up with a music intervention based program that is try to cater to try to help the to give emotional empowerment and also support to those B40 population, especially trying to give support to those that are probably facing more financial hardship, especially during this COVID-19 pandemic. So that was the idea. So we tried to look into combining our experiences. So for me, with singing and vocal, and then with Bobby, it was percussion playing. So we tried to look into making up a program that can benefit them through doing musical activities that involve singing and also percussion playing, and then trying to get participants, recruit participants to join to this program, and then having them to aim to try for us to create a concert, basically to what do you call it, to plan for a concert that actually shows and give a platform for these individuals, the B40 individuals, to perform and also express themselves through the stage. Because for us, we believe that through the art or being given a highlight or giving a voice to them, and then giving that platform for them to perform and also express themselves, it can help them in the long run in terms of emotional growth and also emotional empowerment. So yeah, that's basically the whole a generalized part of it when we propose in the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah, and you actually explained it very well, even better than I would. So before we continue, I just want to get into it real quick. How did you feel about writing the research objectives? I mean, like thinking about it, like giving a platform for the people to have a place to express themselves, to talk about it, to explain what they like and they don't like. You and I, we both went into the different genres that the participants felt happy about and not happy about. They don't like this, they like this. And one of the things that I was thinking of is that during this COVID season, a lot of people don't have the opportunity to like show what they actually want to do and what they don't want to do. I mean, in social media, you can always post what you like, but more often than not, people have less chance to explain what they don't like. not hate, but just like less. So what I felt when writing my part of the proposal was that it felt kind of saddening that this opportunity to, as much as we, it was kind of good that we didn't meet people and we didn't get into like arguments and fights because you're not physically there, but there was a part of that humanity touch, humanistic touch to the lack of physical. What do you think? And especially through music.
Definitely. I think we need to give some context to the people. Like that was our initial proposal was like that. It was still trying to make a music program because when we proposed, that was, when was that? I think that was around last year. It was happening around last year, March. And during that time, the COVID numbers was slightly going down. And in that hope was when we thought we could go back to campus. And that's when the project came into us. And that's where the plan started. The initial planning started, was to do this program, was still hoping that it was a physical face-to-face kind of program. So that's hence why there was a concert. But we found out, unfortunately, throughout the implementation of the planning and also the project itself, we had to revamp it many times, modify it many times, and edit it. You have no idea so many times. And to be honest, at the end of the day, you can't really put a blame on anyone because it's just it was a circumstances kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe we could have certain things we could have done it better, but because because the situation was so I wouldn't say flexible, the situation was so uncertain that it
Unprecedented,
just
right?
threw, it was so unprecedented. I can't pronounce that word apparently. Unprecedented.
Yes, that's
Okay.
the one.
And uncertain, that it just threw us off many times with our planning, and we just had to just keep going because we kept looking at the situation, but we're not sure. It was like playing a game of jump rope, but we're not really sure where's the rope at this point.
We
And
were
then
reacting more than acting. We had to
basically.
react to make plans instead of take the initiative to make newer plans.
Yeah, basically. So there was always a constant hesitation because initially they did mention that this aspect of our project need to have some kind of online backup, a virtual backup to it. But at the back of our minds, I think we and our committee and our supervisors were very hesitant of doing that because we know the moment we start switching to virtual, a big aspect of what music really is about gets lost. This human touch, even right now. So me and Bobby, we can't really do a podcast that's like, face to face or so. We start losing this. It feels a bit distant, like it doesn't feel as connected itself. And music is all about that. Truly at the heart of it, music is all about that human connection that we have with each other, and to have that element of what do you call that? Element of touch, element of direct interaction. That's what really music is really about.
And just to clarify, ladies and gentlemen, like he said, this is a year ago. What you see nowadays, like since 2021 or end of 2020, people are getting into the zone of Zoom meetings, like how we are doing our recordings right now. This is quite recent, the past 6 months, past 8 months. But imagine 12, 13 months ago, it was very new. It was very awkward. It was very unnatural, to say the least, for all of us. So yeah.
So going into that, because it was very uncertain, and then but at the end of the day, we still had to carry out the project, and because we still had the time frame to catch up to, and lo and behold, we had to a lot of our plan had to be scaled down. So from having the initial concert, we didn't have that concert because concert was just banned, outright just banned. So we couldn't do that for the sake of safety also. So we couldn't do that. So we scaled it down to an online virtual program itself, which in turn that also had brought about its own sets of problems also that we had to manage, especially part of the recruitment and also working with the participants and all that.
So that thank you very much for clearing that up. So what we had in mind was, like you said, we wanted to meet the people. We want to meet schools, a school, like a bunch of students from a school or a few schools, or they come to our university, UPM, and we wanted to make like a whole music circle activity once a week or something like that. So what happened was we scaled it all the way down to even online sessions, right? And in the end, we only had like nine
No, it
people,
was less just that. Oh, nine
10,
people. Yeah, it was around
yeah,
nine people.
10,
Yeah,
9 people.
yeah,
So
yeah,
imagine this, we were targeting for like 20, 30 participants,
yeah.
but within the B40 community. So for those of you who are not sure, B40 it's quite irrational if you want to pair B40 having good internet connection and good equipment. So it just doesn't work. So we had to find
Exactly.
people that have, can get on Zoom, can have microphones like these, and Haziq would usually like zoom out and have his piano right there. But a lot of them, they just had a phone, and those,
Yeah.
and that is the idea. That is the idea. Am I right? Like we wanted to help them we wanted to carry out this event for the sake of helping them, not for the sake of this event. That's the idea. But then
Yeah.
we can't really connect to them if they are not quite literally connectable too.
Yeah.
And yeah, so can you explain like what happened in the end and all the uh online session and that one physical event that we did that ended up
All
into a
right.
pseudo performance,
Yeah. So what ended up really just happening after all the multiple occasions of revamping the planning, what um all came down to was that it turned into online sessions. I think we had around, how many sessions was it? We ended up having
six, five, six, I
was
think.
it
Yeah.
I think it was six. I think it was six online sessions of music sessions with the participants, and also we managed to get one particular physical session with the physical participants at Kramat AU2.
Mhm.
That was it. And for the online session, it was the children from SMK Panamewa. So it was those participants. And so in those six sessions, we just did what, to the best of our ability, what we can do to try to give them some form of musical activity. And in turn, it became like more or less us becoming like pseudo lecturers in a way,
Yeah.
giving them music classes. To be honest, at the end of the day, it was fun for us lah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Being able to share music and our experiences of learning music also to them. So that was quite fun also for us with them. So I taught singing through online. We did some singing exercises. We did some teach them a lot about vocal technique. And then with Bobby of course tried to do
Percussion
percussion playing at
activities.
home,
Mhm.
percussion activity, which came with his own sets of problems also that he has to
Yeah.
deal with also, that one. And I think, and throughout the duration also, we tried to keep it a bit more varied. So we give some like listening exercises also with them. We give some like a small lecture of what music genre is about,
Yeah.
and also
We
talk
did
about
touch about the harmony side, the history
yeah,
side.
we did touch. Yeah, we did touch about all of that. So that's why I say we became like pseudo lecturers.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, we touched about the genre. We talk about the history of it. We talk about the different types of vocal genres there is, and yeah, and then gave some basically giving them like a more in-depth music lesson, as if what you're expecting from like a diploma program. When I think about it in hindsight, yeah. So that
Yeah.
was quite fun, and then by the end of that by the end of the online sessions, we move on into getting into the physical session. But at the same time also with the online session, because our idea was that, no, actually, from what the Project for Happiness, basically one of the, I would say somewhat like a requirement by the end, is that we have to try to show something that
A
is
final product.
tangible, a final product, and let's
Yeah.
talk about that later, okay?
Yeah.
So a final product or something that is tangible to show as a means of project outcome
Yep.
in a way. Okay. So yeah, basically by the end of the project as a means of an outcome. So our idea was that to try to get the online participants to somewhat do like a video collage of them, singing, and then we will to compile all their voices into one song recording in a way, so that in a way can become like a project outcome for them lah. So the idea was nice to have all the voices to sing one song, and then have the participants record a video, and then imagine like all these tiny tiny faces singing together. And while at the same time with that video collage, we try to add into the physical session that was going to happen the week later with the Krama AU2 participants, of them singing the same song that we had composed for the project. So yeah.
And the important thing was that we kind of did veer off to that musical side, that more musical side. Of course, we wanted to do 50-50. I mean, it's literally music painting. It's a music program. But we did veer off a bit into like 75% of music lessons, just because it was quite frankly impossible to fill up 2 hours, 3 hours of just talking and explaining when everybody has their videos turned off and so on, because that's the norm back in the day. That was the norm of trying to connect people to the best of our abilities. But I was so happy that by the 4th, 5th, and 6th session, we did come back to all those personal questions. Why do you not like this music? How do you not like this music? And then, they started writing their own songs. Writing their own lyrics. And this just for data. Just if anyone's keeping track, a lot of people in Malaysia like to use the word stars, looking at the stars and believing in something. It was very interesting. I didn't think of that, but actually in hindsight, it was a lot of people just wanted to get out, like stars, not literally just stars, but it's that openness, which is very interesting. Awesome. So now that we've cleared that up, let's get more in depth on it. Let me ask the question, but with a twist on it. What was music painting like for you personally?
I think it's best for the sake of education, and to really look at it like the reality of it. To just be honest with everyone. It wasn't the best experience, honestly. Not because it wasn't the best experience for me. It was because it was stressful trying to deal with a situation that you've never dealt with before. That one is one thing. For me personally, myself, trying to handle a project that is on a music program itself, I haven't had much experience with it. I've had more experience teaching, educating people, education for vocal, like this one-to-one. So when it comes to this project, there is somewhat what you call something that is novel. And on top of that, trying to deal with a project that is novel to me, and then it came on top of with us having to deal with the ongoing uncertain COVID-19 situation that is going on in Malaysia. So it was trying to deal with that, and then trying to look around and then deal with the constant MCO. Is there an MCO? Is there no MCO? Okay, what's the deadline? Okay, what
we
are
can
our
meet with people.
restrictions?
You can't meet with like more than 20.
Can we, and then after that, 10 kilometer. Is this 10 kilometer or is it less than kilometer? That's also like,
Yeah.
So deal with that. And I think it was that constant need of revamping to try to fit that situation, that constant need of revamping. We already planned this out, okay, for it to go like this. And then suddenly news came, we have to change it. Okay. And then that went on weeks, months even.
Yeah.
And that can take a toll on you personally. It's like, it's what do you call that? It's exhausting. It becomes exhausting mentally. It becomes exhausting mentally because having to try to constantly look at the plan and then look at it in a different way and then try to change it. It's exhausting mentally because because we have our expectation and we have our hopes, and when it doesn't try to meet that, and then we try to scale it down. Scale it down is one thing, but scale it down and then having to have multiple versions of it, changing into multiple versions of it, yeah, it can become exhausting. And also on top of the fact that we work as a committee, but it's hard for us to work as a committee that is not very apparent, that is like all around. So yeah, so at the end of the day, it feels like, of course, our committee members also did their parts also. Did their parts also, but most of it has to come and fall down to the people that are available here in KL to work with the participants as well. So yeah, and I'm very sure this happens in not just for our committee, and I think for a lot of project leaders out there. Miscommunication happens like all the time when it comes to virtual planning. And again, you can't put it a blame on anyone. It's just the platform. It's just a lack of that
Clarity.
that clarity, that fast-paced clarity. That's something that is just harken back when you switch to virtual planning, because I can text you in a way, but you might take the text in a wrong way, that and I could also call you, but it still doesn't, it's very difficult. It's not the same. When you deal a project, you meet face to face, you have a meeting face to face, you can have that direct conversation, you can have that direct feedback that's a bit easier, and then you can work things out a bit easier from there on. So yeah. So
and just to clarify, we like he said, we actually did have a team. It's just that when the top is not really sure, then the team can't really function, because we delegated. God knows, we delegated our task. Somebody was in charge of getting the instrument, somebody was in charge of the money, somebody was in charge of the venue confirmation. For example, like venue confirmation, we don't even know which venue. The money, we don't even know how much we're getting, how much money goes out to buy the instrument. And the person that was buying the instrument, he didn't even know what the plan for the instrument was, because even the both of us, we were the co-leaders. We didn't even know, are we going to use the proper music instruments? Are we just going to use like household items? Does that mean that we have to return the money? Does that mean it's not going to be it's not going to be physical anymore, it's just going to be online? But which in the end we did have to like last minute change it, or there has to be an online session. So it was very volatile, like anything could just
extremely volatile.
We always thought, I'm not sure about you, but I was always thought to, whenever you handle an event, you have to have a time frame, right? So week 1 finish this, week 2 finish this, but we were just doing it by the week. This week is done, next, and we intentionally did not plan for the next week. We learned our lesson by the
I think it came to that point. It's like, if you plan something else is going to come out, so might as well just do it on the go. That in a way that worked out well in itself lah. But I think in our experience during that time, in our circumstances, that was just the best decision as it is, just to do it on the go, really. Because if you were to plan something out also, it's more or less gonna turn on itself.
That's true.
Yeah.
So another thing I did want to ask is, we did have our plan A, and this is like plan A, like the first plan where we would meet everyone in together, and then what in the end we just had to translate the music activities to a small group, a local context, and try to tie in. What was that a big challenge for you in trying to understand? Because I do remember that you do have a bit of experience teaching a group of students. I can't remember how it goes, but so was that a big challenge for you?
For me, it was in my experience before lah. I used to teach children that are, one of my past experience was teaching children from the Darul Talim summer camp. So those are children between the ages of like maybe like around 7 to 12 to 14. I think at most it was like around 14. So I teach them like come up with a music program, And for that, it was just basically singing, and then I would teach them singing a song and then just doing some fun activities with them. That was with a friend of mine. But bear in mind, that kind of activity, the one that I've done before, it was just a session that was like at most like 2 hours. And then it was broken up in 2 hours times two in a day. That was the whole chunk of it. We didn't have long term. So when it came to this particular project, it was a bit novel to me because our project was based on trying to have a more longer term kind of program.
Mm-hmm.
And also the one of the particular reason why I was a bit anxious at the beginning, because we ourselves were not sure what kind of recruitment participants that we're gonna get, you know, because at the beginning our one of our project goals was trying to have a cross generational context, trying to bridge the gap, and then have a music program that can connect the elderly and also the youth. So in that way, in that sense, it's like I'm not sure of what kind of music program can we do to try to bridge the gap, because it is one thing when you come up with a music program or you come up with a music plan, it varies between ages. That one we know. With adults, elderly is one way. With just working adults is another way. And then with teenagers is another way. And then with young children is another way. And that all just because it came down all to level of comprehension, basically. Yeah, it's just all because of level of comprehension. Children are going to act in a certain way, teenagers are going to act in a certain way, and they're going to take in things and react in a certain way. So that's why I was just a bit worried and anxious, because I'm not sure how to go about it and then try to tie in all of this together. So that's just really one of my concerns at the beginning. Yeah.
No, and that was really insightful when you did tell me back in the day, because then I realized that that was the disparity between the both of us, you know. So this is actually the main point that we want to get into. At the very heart of it, at like you know, end of the day, if you just give a 10-second summary of yourself, right, you are a performance student and I'm a psychology student, I'm a therapy student, right? And it's not really a problem. It's not like you can't do audio production, I can't do composition, you can't do, because end of the day, we are still music students and we cover a lot of ground. But then I have some kind of experiences with the psychological side, the expressive side, that talking side, discussion side, compared to you, because I know for a fact that I hold nothing to you when it comes to music activities, writing songs on the fly, playing these things, writing, singing on pitch. So that disparity is actually one of the things that I really wanted to discuss with you about today. And was it really apparent? Like the first week, you weren't really sure how to get them to express themselves, because it's quite a big undertaking when you put that as the title of your project. Expression through music. It's not just your musical expression, but it's your expression through music.
Like with them, with the children, basically the one that we work with, the online sessions, right? At the beginning, it was a bit difficult to it was difficult to try to get close to them, because they're also not sure of how it will go about with this whole online session and the kind of activities that we can actually do on music. So during the beginning sessions also, we had it was just awkward for everyone, I'm guessing, with the children especially. So, and then me as a performer, I would need to try to think of giving an activity that can in a way draw the children in, you know, or no, actually not draw the children in, draw the children out. Okay, so in this case it was the teenagers, and you can only try to do that a bit more effectively if it was a bit one-on-one, and if I can truly demonstrate it face to face how it's supposed to be done, because this is something that is very difficult to try to explain to a lot of people, of how through singing you can draw in expression, you can actually draw in people to connect to you in a way that's not just by talking. And that is something that is very difficult to do virtually, because I can't simultaneously try to invite them in to sing along into the activity, and then to also feel into the music. So that was a bit difficult. And then we tried our best to give them activities and also platform for their creativity. So we asked them to do exercises to sing. We also asked them to do song covers, and we also asked them to do the short lyrics compositions for them. And at the end, it's not for us, it's all of it. It was just to give them just a bit of a nudge to try to understand themselves better, of how to express themselves. Because at the beginning stages, people don't really realize of how do we want to express ourselves emotionally. That is something that I think a lot of people still cannot really truly understand how to do, to really express yourself emotionally. And that is a big part of our growth that is often, I feel, is still neglected, the emotional. So through the activities that we tried to do, is all about getting them to be more expressive to this. And we asked them to do the song covers, and that also was, I'm sure some of them also were quite hesitant, because they're not sure, because they're just singing on a camera. What self-expression is this about, you know?
Yeah.
I'm assuming, yeah. Some of them would think in that way. And actually, in a way, also, I also agree, because actually, I'm the kind of person also, I don't particularly like to just do song covers. I'm the kind of person, because I'm a performer, I actually enjoy that the human connection that you get when you perform on stage, because there is a form of energy that is not very apparent, but you can feel that when you perform on stage with people. That kind of that musical touch, that kind of human touch, aura, I don't know what you want to call it, that kind of sixth sense
That
kind of feeling.
atmosphere, that
Yeah, that
connected
kind of
atmosphere.
that connected atmosphere. And yeah, with song covers, if you're just singing here on the phone, you get that kind of energy from yourself, but you can't get that from a whole bigger atmosphere. And that was something that was lost during our online session. Yeah.
So in a way, we were teaching them to be a bit more narcissistic, in a way. I mean, for lack of a better term. But yeah, essentially that was it. We realized that one of the challenges, like you said, is like they don't know how to express themselves. They can. I mean, like children, even us, we do have a tendency, because of all this discussion, all this research going into social media, we're quite vocal about what we like and we don't like.
Yeah.
But some people don't understand how to explain it. And it was a good and a bad thing. I mean, it was good because that was the idea of the project itself. It was bad because we realized that a lot of people, not just the participants, but a lot of us actually hide behind vague answers.
Yeah.
So do you like this music? Do you like this song? Yes, no. Why? I just don't like the song.
Yeah.
It doesn't vibe with me. Why does it mean that it doesn't vibe with you? And then they're not sure. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So it's totally fine. I'm not sure if you remember, one of the best sessions that we had was like the fourth or the fifth session. Like there was this one person saying like, it's so weird that I don't feel connected to. So we were doing a harmony exercise.
Yeah, major minor chord, I think.
Yeah. And Haziq was asking them like, okay, how do you feel about this? How do you feel about that? How do you feel about give a description? And one of the participants actually like, oh, I don't hear these angels and holy sounds. They heard something like a melancholic and whatever. But then, which is good, which is, it's good that you say it. But the sad thing was later on, she actually said like, oh, I feel so left out. I feel so weirded out. Like, why should you? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because the idea was for that particular exercise wasn't to try to tell them, or the answer is this. The answer is this. If it's a major, it has to sound happy. If it's a minor, it has to sound sad, depressed. That's not the case for a lot of people. At the end of the day, when you grow up, when we go to adulthood, you realize that life is not about yes or no. It's definitely not. There's no right or wrong answer only.
Yeah.
We need to start teaching children to understand the gray areas, because we were so accustomed to, that just because we just oversimplify things, just for the sake of convenience, just the answer is yes, the answer is no, this is black, this is blue. But honestly, life is really all about the gray area and
Yes.
everything that is in between, and the discrepancies that is in between. That is what life is all about. That the celebration of differences, basically. And that is something that we need to really teach children even at a younger age. That life is all about these gray areas, and you have to see if where do you appreciate this. You have to learn the appreciation that comes from all these gray area, and you need to learn that you might not get another person, but it doesn't give you the right to just plain out like reject that person. There is a form of, you need to learn to respect differences, because that's the world that we live in, that you just cannot escape. There are differences, but we need to learn to appreciate the differences that comes with it, and then respect other people's opinion. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So now that we've cleared all of that up, let's say if one day Miss Annie Moore, she's the coordinator for Projects for Happiness.
Yeah.
And Annie Moore. Let's say, Khind Starfish just comes to you and just asks one day, can you do the project again? And then, we discuss. I mean, like you and your team discuss, or if you want to rope me along, hypothetically, right? What would you do differently? I mean, of course, with physical, I'm very sure you integrate more physical sessions. You already know how to get the instruments down, how to deal with the politics of moving the money around and so on. And that's normal group thing. But what other things would you change besides the very surface thing? Would you change the question, how you approach the questions, how you approach the activities? Would that be changed?
I think so. I would change some things. For example, like I would change some of the singing activities. I feel that there are more things that I can do to try to benefit them lah. But for me, just downright for me in general, if they were to approach us again, I would only agree to do it if it was very securely that we can do it face to face, physical. Yeah, because
like a non-COVID situation, like post-vaccine and
like,
all, right?
Like we're just like, is it okay now? Are you guys sure? We're safe. We're safe.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah.
We're good. We're done. Okay, then only I'll be more comfortable, because the true beauty of us coming to make music together is to enjoy that together. So
That's true.
And a lot of the I've seen a lot of concerts, and that's the what do you call that? That's the disparity. No, I won't say disparity. That's the qualms that a lot of performers out there that they face. Also, they say that there is actually no replacement for live performances, or there is actually no replacement for live experiences. Actually, it's just that what we do right now virtually is really just how to say it doesn't equate, honestly, to a live experience, to a live performance. We can do the best that we can, but there needs to be a way for us to come back, actually, and that is something that I still believe until now.
That's true. And let me just ask you a follow-up question to that, right? So I asked you, like, would you change? And then you said you would change the activities. Let me just again, hypothetically, just pick your brain on this one. What if we don't change anything?
What if we don't?
Yeah, knowing what we both know now. If we approach it and we take the same framework, we go, before this, we were working with Kramat students, and let's say we go to, I don't know, somewhere in Selangor, a different part in KL. We bring the exact same framework. Would that still be a good idea?
Yeah, it would still be a good idea, actually, because the whole plan is not a bad plan. It was a good plan. What makes us a headache was constantly having to change previously what we had in mind because it was an expectation thing, because we expected like this. But because we keep on changing, what we were frustrated wasn't at the program. What we were frustrated was that mental exhaustion of going around like that, and then what we have here. But what we have here is actually quite a good program in itself, as it is. But that itself also, that program we had to cut short because of MCO.
Exactly. You see, that's what I wanted to ask you about, because we've presented, and you presented in February, and then we were done with everything. And I actually sat down and thought about it. If we just from the get-go, what we have right now, only online, not even the physical session, if we just 100%, 110% just go online, right, it won't be a problem.
It won't,
Yeah. It's just that we had an ideal setting of the final product.
Yeah.
And okay.
That was it. Yeah.
Do you foresee like the department going through that anytime in the future? Going through the same project still online, like in sooner times rather than next year post-COVID and whatever? Is there a possibility? Maybe not under you, but under like a different leadership,
Maybe under a different leadership lah, but we'll see how it goes. But knowing that our department would still probably want to have something that is outcome that is tangible and bigger, so they probably try to garner more participants lah from different communities. So yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your thoughts. Yeah. So ladies and gentlemen, those were our thoughts on our community project. Again, it's called, do you have to help me out?
Music painting, artistic expression through percussion and singing.
There you go. That's what he said. Okay, so all jokes aside, we did have a grand time working on this community project, and I had a grand time working with Haziq. And our differences, despite it not being apparent to our teammates, our differences actually added to the value of the project. Mm-hmm. And we had a grand time working on it. So if you do have a suggestion, a question, a thought, like, oh, you guys should have done this for your project or for the upcoming project, hypothetical project even, you can send us an email at aminbob13 and we'll discuss about this further on. And until then, I'm your host, Bobby Rose, and this is us signing off.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.